Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm not going to admit these fireflies. I'm sorry. I guess we can because I don't know how to make it go away. Good morning. Tell me something good. And if you are a box, a paper head cut out, if you could come on screen, even if you're in your jammies, even if you're watering your plants out in your garden, don't care. Want to see your faces. Anybody have something good to start us out with today? Going to be really awkward when we just sit here in silence.
Nobody had anything good. It's a secret. What?
Hi,
Okay,
Linda.
so I have something like kind of good. Like when you realize you're maybe going down the wrong path. And
Mm.
so I did a downsizing presentation yesterday afternoon at a senior living community. There were two people who had RSVP'd. One had canceled out of the RSVP. And so I was like, I have no idea how many people I'm going to get. We ended up with 9 there. One was the brand new general manager of the community. It was her first day. So it was nice to meet her, and she saw me in action for doing it.
Yes. And she's
But
thinking it's so nice for this lady to be here on my first day to give me something to do because nobody knows what to do on her
nobody
first
knows
day.
what to
So that
do.
was a win, a huge win.
Yeah, so that was good. But then you realize it gets filled up with like it was four or four residents, and it's an assisted living community. And these are people who have already moved. They don't have a house to sell. One woman, though, has friends that haven't sold their house and downsized. So I've got hope for one person there. Um, and then and it feels like I'm going down the wrong path with this community, but I'm on their list as a real estate agent and a resource. And so this is, I feel like it's really truly the community service piece aspect of it. Um, and and then a couple people that were there who live in apartments and live somewhere else. And so it's that balance between, who's my audience, who am I serving, and I want to help people sell their house.
Did
So,
I hear you say two people RSVP'd and nine people showed up?
well, like four or five were people who lived there. So they just
And do
come.
they have friends? Do they have friends
Yeah,
and
one of the women is
family?
100% on top of everything. She's already moved out of her house, but she has friends.
And if
So,
she's on top of things, she's telling her friends about you. If she's the ringleader that always put mahjong together or bridge together, if she's an on top of it woman, she is telling people about you. So I want you one to to give yourself grace because uh, it took a lot of guts to show up with an RSVP list of two. I would probably have canceled because it takes a lot to show up and just say to yourself, maybe one person will be there. I'm in the camp of if one person shows up, that's a listing appointment I didn't have to go out and get. I totally get your mindset around, well, they already live there. And you are laying the bedrock, the foundation for brand awareness. In assisted living is not skilled nursing. These people are still living really productive, flourishing, connected socially lives. And so it was a networking event. Like you led a networking event. And I'm just so proud of you. And that manager, again, talk about a first impression. Like first day on the job, and who does she see leading a value packed seminar or whatever you titled it? Linda Dowell. She's not going to forget you. So I would just encourage you to keep showing up. Maybe there is some tweaking on like style of presentation or topic of presentation, But I would not change your trajectory. Maybe do an analysis on how much time you're spending there, how much effort, resources you're pouring in, but don't stop touching that manager. Send her a Starbucks gift card. It's a small gesture, but thank you so much for having me. Here's some caffeine to get you through your first full week at blah 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 community. $10. That just shows like, oh my gosh, Linda is someone I want to do business with. That was so kind. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being brave because it takes like that takes guts. Totally. But I would say it wasn't kind of good. That was something very good. And do it again and again and again. Bobby, what do you have?
So I have a younger buyer that I met, and they are renting. I connected them with a lender who does great with self-employed people. And I talked to her yesterday and I said, I know that you know a lot of realtors because she does. Very connected in the community. And I said, and she said, but we've decided that we want to use you. And so I was talking to my husband about, well, why would she prefer me over all these people she's known for 10 or 15 years? And the only thing we can come up with is that I connected her to the lender who was able to help her. And so I
You
want
came from
to,
value.
but I want to do better with the lifestyle home loan for our seniors who want to downsize, because I've tried to talk to several people about that. And in the conversation, I mentioned the word like the old fashioned, it's similar to a reverse mortgage. As soon as they hear the word reverse, they shut down. So maybe you guys have some ideas of how to word that differently without the word reverse. Anyways, but it was great. So
Yeah.
we're looking for a house.
Thank you for sharing. Two pieces of feedback that you didn't ask for. I am infamous for unsolicited advice. Take them or leave them. One, never start a conversation with, I know you know a ton of realtors, because then you're planting a seed of doubt. I'm so proud of you for getting that business. And a way that you could find out why did you choose me would just be once you get that contract signed, of course, that buyer's agreement. Gosh, Bobby, I am so honored to get to work with you. I know you're so well connected in the community because I'm so growth focused. Tell me, why did you choose me? Something along those lines, instead of, I know you know a lot of realtors, because you might be causing your own, like you might be causing doubt for them when they've already decided you. And I learned this in the very hard way in listing referrals. Like I would go to listing appointments 3-5 years ago where they're calling me because a friend referred them. They weren't going to interview anyone else, and I would ask, may I ask, who else am I up against? And they're like, you think we should have we should interview other agents? And I'm like, oh, I mean, blah. And so we don't want to create our own objections. But I am so, and not but, and I'm so proud of you for just coming from contribution. It's like the basics, right? 101, come from contribution, and people know how much you care. So way to go. Don't ever put that objection in somebody's head. And then on your thought process as far as the yes, Mark says the most difficult objection to overcome is the one you create yourself. 100%. I've learned that the hard way. It's why my listing presentation is completely different these days. A quick plug, and this is hot off the press. We just talked about this in our board meeting, is that this summer, June, and maybe 1 to 2 weeks in July, we have packaged. Say yes in the chat or raise your hand if you feel like sometimes in our group you're drinking through a fire hydrant and have no idea where to start. It's okay. We take feedback well. Yes or yes. Bobby came off mute. She's like, heck yes. Okay. Yes. So we recognize that. And we're so passionate about the work that we're doing that we're like on cloud nine all the time. This summer, we are launching the I forget what we called it, the niche launch lab, senior niche launch lab, where we are going to do a stepwise course all of our members, if you're a paying member, of course you get access, but we are going to market it outside of PAC to try to bring more people into our world. But what's in it for you is that we are going to start from the beginning and go deep in a stepwise process. And that listing presentation, that buyer's consult, how to pitch the lifestyle home loan or the reverse mortgage, those are going to be conversations that we're going to have inside of this class. And so thank you for bringing that up. This is coming June 2nd. Be looking out for it. And Paul, do you have anything you want to say on that lifestyle home loan or how to pitch a reverse mortgage to help somebody age in place or even downsize? Because hello, you can use reverse mortgage to purchase a property as well.
Yeah, so
anything
thank
you want to add there?
Just from my perspective, it's hard to give a 30-second answer. And you know me, I'll run for the next 30 minutes. This is Gretchen calls, not mine. However, I always want to know what you're doing with your money. Tell me the next step, the next chapter, the next page. When they give me that information, it helps me then introduce an opportunity to take advantage of 1, 2, 3, 4 of these different things. Were you aware that this could help you do that? Were you aware that this could help you do that? As an example, most people are not aware that a senior citizen can buy a 4-unit property. 3 people could be paying the mortgage, of which there is no mortgage payment, and they could use that to buy another home, an Italy vacation, take their children on this magnificent trip. They were unaware of that. So I invest more time in the next page than the current. When I learn more about the next page, I'm able to go back to the previous page and ask if this would help take care of that. Again, tough out of context. Thank you for the opportunity, Gretchen. But that's the thought process. I rarely ever get pushback, rarely ever. And all of my calls are recorded, which I can always play back. And Linda, to your point, even if you're presenting to one person as opposed to 30, if it was recorded, you would then have clips to then post on social, share with other people. You know me, I'm always about recording that. It holds you more accountable. So if you always think somebody's watching, we'll always do our best because somebody's always watching.
Yes. So thank you for asking that, Bobby. And it is a huge eye opener that we need to do a masterclass on the reverse mortgage or the lifestyle home loan so that we can have these conversations. Were you aware that? That's the same thing with long-term care insurance. Were you aware that your long-term care insurance policy probably has some money in there for you to redo your bathroom? And these are things that redo your bathroom when it's for aging in place. You can't go put a step-in tub in and call that aging in place because that's going to cause a huge fall risk. So there are obviously nuances, but were you aware that script, that sentence makes you, again, coming from curiosity, like, hey, were you aware that X, Y, and Z? So while Paul was talking, put it on our list for June to do a deep dive on that type of loan so that we can have conversations and elevate our professionalism to be the expert in this space, because you are not wrong. People shudder when they hear reverse mortgage because of the bad apples in the space. So thank you for bringing that up. Geraldine, do you have a question or is your hand accidentally raised?
It's not accident. No, I did have a question.
Hit us.
I've heard it referred to as a lifestyle home loan, but you can call it whatever you want to call it. But at the point in which they have to go through the process, it's going to be called a reverse mortgage. And I understand the fear, the dislike for reverse mortgages. So how do you overcome that when you call it one thing, and then when they go to do the initial consult, now it's going to be called a reverse mortgage. It's not going to be called the lifestyle home loan.
I'm sure Paul is like a kindergartner at the edge of his seat here.
I see. Did you see him? Did you see him move forward?
Yeah,
I saw him move forward.
Let me at him.
Exactly. Exactly. I saw him move forward. I'm like, okay.
Paul, hit us.
Geraldine, you sat in on my 3 different sessions went very deep into the reverse mortgage. I never called it anything other than what it actually is. I'm not fearful of the title. It's the framing with which I deliver the message. And that goes back to something I can't do in 30 seconds. But when you look at the next page, just think of this as a book. When you get to look ahead at that person's next page, put more energy into where they're going in place of where they are. And then I go back and what do? I redirect the energy. Remember, from my perspective, it's toes versus heels. If you're in defense of a title you've given something, you have to defend your position. I'm saying, how do you redirect that energy? And like Gretchen just alluded, I ask a question. And it's almost, I'm not asking it in a way to make you feel less than, I'm asking it in a way that's curiosity. And when you ask somebody a question they can't answer, they become attentive to your direction. So I always look ahead and then pull them back and ask them a question, and it reframes the entire environment. So then I go back into a deeper education that when you had this mortgage you have currently, or the one you had previously, tell me how that mortgage worked. And they describe how it works, some principal interest. I said, okay, if you could remove that or remove this, what would that have done for you? Could that have helped you get to that next chapter in your book, in your life, et cetera? So it's very difficult for me to give a short answer. I know I sound like a politician, I'm talking very quickly, but it's part of the framing. So I don't fear the term. I don't change the term. To me, that's like disguising this thing, and all of a sudden it pops up. Oh, that's what it was. Why did you do that? That's not my approach. My approach is the framing, getting involved in their life, intimately understanding where they are. And then once they fall in love with me, they'll overcome the data or the detail of the title. It's just like that whole joke I talked about when I met my wife, et cetera, another story, another day. But it is that framing. So I don't fear the title by any means. And I don't divert and come up with a different title. For those that are, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. This is just my perspective. That's all.
And I appreciate that. And Andrea said in the chat, I definitely want to learn more on the reverse mortgage, and specifically buying another home. And then she said she did the lifestyle loan with Omaha Mutual, but it hasn't sunk in. That's another huge point, is that in order to frame it properly, in order to own the conversation coming from curiosity and frame the product in a way that will benefit someone, you do have to understand it, or else you're gonna sound like so this is great feedback. And I know Paul has gone deep a couple of times on the reverse mortgage, but we are going to get a masterclass on the calendar for the month of June to go extremely deep and break it down, like for a kindergartner to understand. My son's in kindergarten. It's not a derogatory, like I'm explaining things all the time for kindergartners. So that's the world I live in. But for today's call, I am going to share my screen, and I feel so bad for this woman who I'm about to show you. And I took a picture of her.
Can I just offer one observation for the whole June, the senior niche launch? I get stuck. One of the areas that I get stuck in is this balance between this tiny little, this little step, and then the bigger picture. Because I feel like I get, okay, well, here's this little initial piece. Here's this little initial piece. And then I want to see where it's going down the line. Another conversation, another meeting, another, like, what's the long game of this thing that we're doing right now is an observation that I have, like, from my point of view.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's going to be so specific for each of us, right? So, the very first, so we actually have modules built out, and the very first module is a brand exercise. Why are we showing up professionally in this space? What do we want for our, whether it's a senior focused business or a pillar to our existing business that focuses on seniors? And so a lot of that, the answer to that big picture is going to come from within. And we haven't done a great job at taking time to stop and prompt you with thought-provoking questions to help you get there. One thing that my counselor, yes, I have a counselor, everybody should, that she asks me all the time, what does Gretchen want? And my answer is always like, oh, I want my kids to be taken care of. I want my husband to feel like he's got the best wife in the world. And she's like, no. What does Gretchen want? And I can't answer that. Like, survival today, that's all I want. And she's like, no, like, what do you want? And I think that's the very, like, question you have to ask yourself, Linda, about why are you showing up here? What is the end goal? Is the end goal a SMART goal? SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, reach, and time limit. I want to serve 10 downsizing seniors in the next 12 months? Or is the goal, I want to be the senior expert for 63123. That's my zip code. Anytime anyone thinks of anything for their aging parent, they say Linda Dowell. Like, those are very different goals. And so what the big picture is going to have to come from inside of you. And for the month of, like, that very first course, so the week of June 2nd to June 6th, 7th, we're going to focus on that and talk about building a brand around this and giving you some framework to think about what we want that big picture to look like. Is that helpful? Oh, you're
Yeah,
mute.
kind of. And then it's almost shrinking down from that, like within the conversation of the board of directors or within the conversation with the senior living community, like what's the scope of that, and
Yeah.
so it's not it there's a big picture, and then there's these subcategories, and what's the big
Yeah.
picture within those pieces. So
Yeah.
just an observation. Don't need an answer, just an
No,
observation.
I love it. I love it. And say yes in the chat or give me a nod if you've ever eaten too much at an all-you-can-eat buffet or at Thanksgiving. Like, when there are so many options on the table that look so good and you want to eat them all, and then you're like, I have to get home and get my stretchy pants on or I'm going to die. That is the world we're living in right now inside of PAC. Like, we've given you so many good options and we're eating and we're eating and we're eating, and now we need to put our stretchy pants on. So the point of our dialing it down and giving you menu options is so that we can build specific businesses for each of us, not a massive buffet where we're all overeating and then we don't get anywhere with our goals. So that is wonderful feedback, Linda. I so appreciate it. Now, for today's LFG call, I took a picture of a woman at the Cardinals game yesterday. And I hope that's not illegal, but here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, share. Can you see this lovely lady here? Is it very small? How's that? Can we see?
Yeah, I can see it just
So why did I take a picture of her? One, my husband gives me trouble for being on my phone all the time. This woman was on her phone the whole game. And it was a great baseball game. The Cardinals, I'm a huge fan, beat the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers are number 1 in the AL currently, AL Central. St. Louis Cardinals are number 2 in the NL Central. So it was a good game. It wasn't a bad game. And she is just on her phone on what app? 2 apps. This picture is Facebook. And right after she would close out Facebook, she would go to realtor.com and scroll homes. And I was like, I cannot with this lady. Like, I want to say something so badly, but my husband would be mortified if I said something. So I just watched and observed and watched and observed. And I'm telling you, she would go to Facebook and back to Realtor, Facebook and back to Realtor. And so I had so many ahas during the game watching this woman. Her husband got up. When her husband would come back, she'd put her phone away. But we were in a suite where, speaking of buffets, where there was food, and he would go indulge in the buffet and she would get on her phone. So what does this tell me about this woman? One, I have no idea who she is. I know that she's looking at homes in Cape Girardeau and Jackson, Missouri, because her text on her phone is big. And so I could see, and that's about 3 hours for me, which is why I didn't say anything. If it was like St. Louis, you better believe I would have said something. But it was homes, new listings in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, new listings in Jackson, Missouri. And then she would go to Facebook and she made a post about being at the Cardinal game. And then she said, like, go Cards. And then she commented on somebody's post. And I feel bad that I was watching so diligently, but like, look, she's right in front of my face. She commented, like, took a picture, left it on there, and showed everyone that she's in the Champions Club at the Cardinals game. And then she saw a photo that was like a throwback photo. It was an old picture of someone from her work. And why did I know this? Because I could read everything on her screen. And she commented on the photo, we had so many great years at some telephone company. Like it was a rogue, it was like Telelectric or something. And so I just had the biggest aha in this moment that I heard recently. This didn't come from me. This came from the CEO of the brokerage that I'm at. He had a piece of content go viral. And in his content, he said, stop calling your sphere to check in. And that is so like countercultural from everything that I've been taught in real estate and in sales. And he said, you are inconveniencing them when you call just to check in. Like a care call is BS because you have a motive. It's not actually like caring. And so he said, go to where your clients already are and interrupt their daily patterns by asking a question to what they're already saying is important to them. So if this lady, who I would estimate is 65 or older, I'd give her like 67 to 75 range. If I know that this is my target market, by the way, all the homes she scrolled on Realtor were ranch style homes. Like, this is my avatar right here sitting in front of me at the Cardinal game. And so I know that she's on Facebook. And if I Google senior usage of Facebook, the stats are not like super staggering. I think it's like 15% of people 65 and older use Facebook. But I don't care because that equates to, I looked this up right before our call, 34 million people over 65 use Facebook regularly. And I know that the human craves connection. And I also struggle internally with making calls. This right here, this case study gives me all the freedom in the world to go lead generate today. And what does that look like? That looks like asking, don't just say a like and a fun exclamation point. Go Cards. No, 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 no. That's what everybody is commenting when people are commenting on Facebook posts, they're doing quick one word, disingenuine, like things that are super quick. If I want to engage, we'll call this lady Sandy. She looks like a Sandy. If I want to engage Sandy, and I literally watched her post Go Cards. I'm going to comment, what a game. What section were you in? I can't figure it out from your photo, and I know Busch Stadium pretty well. LOL. There's a question in there. Nobody is going to look at their alerts, see that Paul commented on your post, see that Paul asked a question and not respond. That would be the same as going to a cocktail party or a shower or a family event and somebody talking to you and you just sit like this. So I am going to make the rest of it's 9:30 and I respect that our LFG calls are typically only 30 minutes, but I wanted to have a super tactical call today. And we had a lot of contributions at the beginning. So it's okay. If you have to jump, fine. If you don't have to jump, we are all going to sit on this Zoom together and we're going to make 5 contacts today, right now, in the next 30 minutes. And how we're going to do that is we are going to do what the CEO of one of the largest growing brokerages is right now. And we are going to interrupt the people that we want to work with by commenting on the things that they are already saying is important to them. So pull out a list of your past clients, or maybe people that you are already going to touch this week. Go to their Facebook, and if they have posted something in the last 6 months, I'm not like, it doesn't have to be last night at the Cardinals game, but if they have posted anything in the last 6 months, I want you to comment a genuine comment that's longer than 3 words and add a question. And once they respond, it's up to you to take them into conversation. So it might look like, Sherry, I see you have your grandkids at the park. I can't name what park that is. Where is that? And then once they comment, DM them. Thank you so much for the park recommendation. How are you? How's the family? And then bring it into a chat box. Did anybody have questions about this? Okay, who's going to stay on with me and make 5 Facebook contacts before the masterclass that starts at 10 Central? And the masterclass today is on abbreviations in the healthcare industry, understanding a glossary of terms. Thank you, Mike. It is not illegal. I'm in public. You feel a lot better. Where do I find info on your professional platform? Oh, thank you, Mike. So I'm gonna turn off. I'm gonna oh, go Brewers. Boo. Okay, Mark. Mark, before you go, if you make your contacts, get on our Facebook group and say so. I'll send you Starbucks coffee. I'll send you a gift card. But get on our Facebook group and say, like, I made my 5 contacts. Anybody that's on this call, I will send you Starbucks coffee today because I'm so passionate about doing the activities that I know work. I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm going to get on
Hold on a
Facebook what's up, Geraldine?
No, I'm sorry. I thought I was off.
Oh, that's okay. Funny. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to get on Facebook so you guys can watch me as I go. I want you to reach out to 5 people. And then once I'm done with my 5, I'm going to turn the Zoom off. If you do this, tell us in the Facebook group and I will send you Starbucks coffee. Go forth and make it an awesome day. It's always fun to get started with you. Okay, I'm coming off chat coming off mute because Linda says, I've been making comments like this, had not thought of the DM part. What would you say in the DM? I'm going to give you one, I'm not going to give you what to say because I want you to be organic. 2, here are some examples. For me, who I'm getting my senior referrals from, it's the eldest adult daughter. So it's the Gretchens of the world. I'm the eldest adult daughter. So a lot of the stuff I'm commenting on is sandwich generation moms that are managing kids and their aging parents. So I'm going to ask them questions about their kids. How old are they now? What part that you are at? Somebody post a concert. I really wanted to go to that Post Malone and Jelly Roll concert. I didn't, but everybody's posting about it. I really wanted to go to that. How was the concert? Question mark. And then they comment, OMG, it was so good. Then you message them in their DMs and say, tell me more about the concert, or I love live music. Are there any other concert? Like, hey, I saw you went to the Post Malone. I didn't want to keep chatting you up in the comments. I love live music. Do you know of any other concerts that I should put on my calendar this summer? How are you in the family? Like, just jump to how are you? The same as a care call, but you're meeting them where they already are. Some other things. Graduations are huge right now. So graduation party. If you, whatever life stage you're in, you know people that are going away to college. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a niece, a nephew, a great niece, great nephew. Oh my gosh, that cake is amazing from the graduation party or the baccalaureate mass, which is super big in St. Louis with all the Catholic schools. But you want to comment something about the photo and then pose a question. And then in the DMs, just carry on the conversation super organically. Like, it would be very awkward, not organic, if you're like, this is a great, oh my gosh, I love this cake you made at graduation. Who baked it? Like, I always want to keep tabs on the great bakeries around town. Where did you get this cake? And then they're like, oh, my niece made it in her kitchen. Then you DM them, I cannot believe your niece is that talented. Who graduated in the family? Where are they headed to college? And that is organic. If you go to, oh my gosh, that cake was great. Do you know anyone that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That is not organic. So I'm going to go on silent and share my screen. And I'm going to do this exercise. And I want you all to do it as well. So Sherry, I saw you took a call. Way to go. What we're doing is commenting on 5 either past clients or Sphere people on their Facebook, something with a question so that they have to respond. And then when they do respond, we're taking it to the DMs, a direct message, or text them if you know them on that level. I gave the example of right now is May, graduations are happening everywhere, whether it's your neighbor, aunt, niece, nephew, everybody knows somebody graduating. Was just my example. If somebody has a beautiful cake at a graduation party, it could look like this. I love that cake. What bakery in town did you get it from? They comment, my niece made it. Then you DM them, I can't believe your niece is that talented. Does she take special orders or was this a one-off? Who graduated? How are you in the family? So it's the same exact concept as a care call, but we're just meeting our clients where they already are, where they've already blasted something that they're saying is important to them. I'm putting myself on mute and I'm getting on my Facebook. I'm going to share my screen if you all want to observe how I go about it. And then once I'm finished, I'm cutting the call off. If you guys do this, get onto our large Facebook group, which is Senior Mastermind Productive Aging Collective. Let me see what it's called. And say that you've done it. Senior Mastermind Group, Productive Aging Collective is our open group. Anybody can join that. You don't have to be a member. It looks like this. And once you have done your 5 contacts, post in here so we can hold each other accountable, cheer each other on. Go forth and be awesome.